What's going on, guys? On today's show, we have a Dante Exum injury update. We take a look at what happened in the blue and white game yesterday and look ahead to what's next in the week of Mavs land. But before we do that, please go follow me on Twitter. The Mavericks are back tonight. I'll be live tweeting the game all throughout. So please, if you want to give me a follow on Twitter at Jeff_Coop27, the first 10 to do so will get a follow back. And without further ado, let's get right into today's show.
All right, happy Monday, Harrison Graham at Jeffrey Cooperstein. Like Coop said, go give him a follow on Twitter. Coop, Dante Exum having a potentially serious wrist injury, and if he needs surgery, could be out a while, and not exactly the start to training camp you're looking for, both from a team standpoint, but Exum as well, who is probably in the rotation, but is going to have to earn a role as well. Let's get you guys caught up on the latest and talk about what this could mean both short-term and long-term.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate for Dante. He's kind of dealt with injuries all throughout especially in his Mavericks tenure last year as well. He was out for a sustained period of time, and this is just not something that you wanted, especially given how well he played in the postseason for this team. You thought that you were getting a bargain there at $3 million, and you still might, but it's very unfortunate for Exum given his career. Seemed like it was on an upward trajectory, and he kind of revived himself here last year. It's very unfortunate, but this is why you brought in Spencer Dinwiddie, because you knew that Exum had injury problems and maybe wouldn't be available for a period of time. And the Mavs just added that depth by bringing in Dinwiddie, who already knows the system, feels comfortable playing in Dallas here. So you do have an insurance policy, but it's still just not the way you want to start training camp in the preseason.
Yeah, I mean, this is why having a deep roster like this is critical, and getting Spence on a vet minimum deal. Was it vet minimum? Whatever it was, cheap contract. It is important. Obviously, different skill sets, but you hope Dante's back sooner rather than later. Certainly seems like he's missing at least a good chunk of the early part of the season. Now, whether that's 3 weeks or 2 months, that remains to be seen. But, obviously his floor spacing, defense, and ability to handle the ball was a nice little asset to have last year. We saw that throughout the season. And, the Mavs have a couple injuries early on here, Coop. Kleber's banged up. Luka's got the calf thing. Obviously, that's the one that we're all focused on because, look, if you told me Luka's out 2 weeks or Dante versus 3 months, which would I rather be the case? I'd rather have Luka for those 2 weeks. I love Dante, but that's just, Luka makes this thing go. So hopefully this isn't a bad omen to start the year.
Absolutely.
Still have a couple of weeks until the season starts, but yeah, the depth is being challenged. But again, this is why you build a complete team. This is why you get a Spencer Dinwiddie. This is where Jaden Hardy has value because he's a guy who's gotten real reps over the past couple of years for this basketball team. So I think the Mavs are okay right now, but obviously a couple of guys nicked up already.
Yeah, and I do think you mentioned it. It's a prime opportunity for Jaden Hardy to try to stake his claim in this rotation. As of right now, I think he's on the outside looking in, but if he can come in the preseason and really impress the coaches and prove that he can do it on both ends of the floor, this could be an absolute goldmine of an opportunity for him to try to get into this rotation and finally break in his third year. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it throughout the offseason. It feels like a big year for Jaden Hardy. The vibes from last offseason to this feel different for him. And it's not solely his fault. I think the Mavs are just a much better team and roster. But last year we were talking about he could be this team's sixth man, and who knows? He has the profile as a potential sixth man of the year candidate. Now it's like, is he in the rotation? But when a guy like Dante goes down, if Spence goes down, Luka's nicked up, if there was a game tomorrow, I would expect him to be in the rotation because Dante wouldn't play and Luka wouldn't play. So
100%.
He's got an opportunity here, and if he could take advantage, then kudos on him because we know he's a capable scorer. Can he be a little more efficient there, but more importantly, add more elements to the game? I'll continue to say it, Coop. I thought in the playoffs he had some nice little pick and roll plays where he threw a couple lobs. Can he be a little more of a, I don't want to say floor general, but a guy that on any given night for a handful of possessions can generate the offense, not just as a scorer? If he can add that to his game, then that only increases his value.
I think it was specifically in the second and third round last year in the postseason is where I thought he really excelled. And he showed you that, yeah, he could be a part of this thing if he can do it on a more consistent basis. So I hope he can. I would love to see Jaden Hardy succeed, given the Mavericks believed in him and traded back into the draft to go get him. So I think that would be a cool story. But we also want to get Dante healthy back as soon as possible as well.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, if you asked me who I trust more, it's clearly Dante Exum.
Absolutely.
What is your concern level over the Mavs' injuries early on? Scale of 1 to 10. I guess as a whole, I'd go 5. I mean, Luka and calf, I don't like those two words in the same sentence, although it doesn't seem too serious. And then obviously it seems like at minimum you're going to be without a rotation piece early on in the season in Dante Exum. So 5 out of 10. It's not a panic thing, but you don't like losing a rotation piece before the season even starts. So certainly not ideal. All right, let's talk about Prize Picks, and then we'll shift to some other storylines. Basketball is back. This is the perfect time to get going on Prize Picks. The best daily fantasy sports app that exists is Prize Picks, and it's because it's simple, it's easy, and you can make money. Sign up today at prizepicks.com/CLNS. The code CLNS gets you a $50 bonus when you just play for $5. Doesn't matter if you win or lose that $5 entry. You are going to make money. We got a little football action here. We're going to go less on the Patrick Mahomes passing yards. Their receiving core is depleted, so we'll go less there. More on Alvin Kamara to find a touchdown there, and then Harrison Butker more. A little goblin pick, which is easier to hit. 1.5 field goals. Chiefs kick a lot of field goals because they stall out with this bad receiving core. So take advantage of that. Again, $5. Doesn't matter if you win or lose. You're going to get a $50 bonus. And, you know, maybe you're a fantasy football player and you drafted Christian McCaffrey, who's been out the entire season. Or maybe you've suffered major injuries and your season is in shambles. Well, that's where daily fantasy and Prize Picks comes to play. New lineups every single day, different sports available. Check it out. Pick more, pick less. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. The code CLNS gets you that $50 bonus once you play for $5. All right, Coop. Preseason starting tonight against the Grizzlies.
It's a game day.
Yeah, game day. So, hey, predict the score in the comments. Look, Luka's out. We'll see if and when he plays. You've got that note there. Maybe the Clippers game is
I would be shocked if he played against the Jazz. I think the absolute earliest you would see him is against the Clippers, and he might even just play in one against the Bucks.
And look, I'll be honest. If there's even a 1% concern, I'll see opening night. It's just
absolutely.
It's not that big of a deal. Now, you'd like to get him some minutes with Clay and try to get some early live reps there, but you know, it's the NBA. You've got 82 games. You can feel that out for a few weeks early on in the season. But the preseason starts tonight, so you got 4 games. Do we expect tonight to see Clay in his first action? What's the chatter here?
Don't have the word on Clay yet. I don't think we're going to see Luka or Kyrie those, but we're not sure about Klay Thompson. Again, go follow me on Twitter. I'll let you guys know who's playing and who's not. But if you see Clay, it may be like for the first quarter, if that. So it'll be limited. It'll be a lot of Jaden Hardy and a lot of AJ Lawson tonight.
Yeah, speaking of AJ Lawson, by the way, the blue-white scrimmage, he was great. 23-5. D-Live looks like he's ready to make a jump as well. You know, it's a scrimmage. It's not the end-all, be-all, but Naji scoring as well. I'll say this. There's been some early chatter. I know I saw Clay talking about this, Coop. Like, Naji's like a skilled offensive guy.
Absolutely.
Like he's more skilled than Derrick Jones in terms of he could put the ball on the ground, drive to the basket. Now, there's things Jones does better, obviously. I'm not trying to, like, diminish Derrick Jones, but I think there's going to be random, like, oh, Naji scored 23 points last night. Like, he's going to have those games, and I think he can create a little bit more, which was on display here with 5 assists.
Yeah, we've talked about Naji, man. I think he's going to be a big part of this offense. I think his playmaking ability is underrated. You see the 5 assists there, and I know it's a scrimmage. It's an inter-team scrimmage where they're not playing very hard and whatnot, but even so, to see that, it's definitely encouraging, and I think it just gives the Mavs a few more options off the bench, and I'm excited to see how he fits into this rotation for sure.
Some other news, Frank Vogel is on board as a consultant. Obviously, he's had a lot of success with stints in Indiana. He was briefly with Orlando, then obviously won a title with the Lakers in the bubble a few years ago.
Alongside Jason Kidd.
Jason Kidd was on that staff, obviously. So he's back in the coaching realm in some regard. I'm sure he's hoping for another shot at a head coach someday. Didn't work out in Phoenix, but
Kid jokingly said he had to beg him to join the coaching staff. I think Vogel didn't really want a full-time position, so he's going to be a consultant. I don't think he's going to be around the team full-time, but maybe like in high-pressure games and maybe as we get closer towards the playoffs, he'll be a little bit more involved. So the Mavs coaching staff sits like this, and this is just the front end of the coaching staff. They, no joke, probably have 15 assistant coaches that you guys don't even know about and I don't even know about. So Jason Kidd obviously is your head coach, and then your top 3 assistants are Jared Dudley, Alex Jensen, and Eric Hughes. And then you have Frank Vogel as a consultant who, and like I said, later in the year, I think could become more of a factor on this coaching staff.
Yeah, so keep an eye on that. And it's just nice to be talking about on-court stuff.
No question, man.
We're going preseason tonight. If you're excited, spam MFFL in the comments. And stay tuned. We'll let you guys know. Coop might be doing one of the preseason games, a watch party, maybe the Clippers next Monday. If we get word on, hey, Luka's going to play this game, that'll probably
the one we're doing.
That'll probably be the game we do.
No doubt.
Be sure to keep us locked in here on Mavericks Today. Give Coop a follow on social media. We'll see you guys tomorrow with more Mavericks coverage. We'll react a little bit to the preseason game, so stay tuned for that. Go Mavs.
Peace.